It's go time in the Dirthead shed. We're working on the red F250, getting it ready for ultimate adventure, and all my buddies are here helping because I need all the help I can get. So last you saw, I was starting on the cage. That is totally done now. It's looking pretty good. Had a few compromises here and there because I'm building a rig that's supposed to be for like street driving and off-road use, so you got to have a little bit of compromise so that you can keep some comfort. Some of the things that I do really like about this is how the cage drops through the dash. I was able to keep my AC vents and stuff like that, and then if you look in there close, you can see the factory grab handle even went back in. So just kind of neat being able to like pass tech for ultimate adventure with the roll cage, but still have a truck that's like comfortable enough to drive to work. My buddy Ted has been working on sheet metal work, trying to help me finish where we cut the bottoms of the doors off, and it's go time. We have a tough week this week. I'm gonna try and get all the suspension wrapped up on this thing. We'll see if that happens, and I wanna get into the transfer case. Transfer case is.
Yeah, hold up, it's not ready yet.
I'm trying to see something, still in my own lane, they did not see me coming. If you know, you know, you know, it don't get much better than this. Just like your laundry, wait till you get a load of this. Always on to the next one. They was looking for the next one, so I stepped up. I do it every time I make news, I need my airtime. So ahead of my time, I'm always making headlines, yeah.
Here we go. I'm tearing into a transfer case. This truck has a perfectly good transfer case, but I wanted lower gears and I wanted super duper reliability, so I'm going with an EP2 out of an older Ford truck, and it will have a Magnum gear reduction box in front of it. That's what this gear set's for, so I've got to tear this whole transfer case apart to put that new input gear in it, and in the process I'm going to rebuild it. So this old thing here should be looking pretty good here in a couple hours. It is hot and muggy out, so I brought a friend of mine from the south to come up here and make it not feel so hot. This is Josh Cooper. He is from Superlift Suspension, and he actually designed and welded and built the whole front kit that's going under this. So I brought him in to see if he could help me figure out the rear as well. What do you think?
I think so.
He's sweating like a pig.
I thought I was going to come up here and not sweat.
This thing showed up from Ford as a 3/4 ton truck, supposed to haul heavy loads. It's even got a fifth wheel hitch, so this thing was towing big trailers. But its job now is to go rock crawling and do a good job of it. And these heavy leaf springs are not going to cut it for what we're trying to do. I need more articulation and flex. It doesn't have to haul such heavy loads, so we're going to build a link suspension for the back of this and hopefully get it onto some coilovers. Josh actually came out with a bunch of parts from Superlift, and we have some parts that are left over from other kits that I'm going to try to make work on this, along with some builder parts from Rough Stuff Specialties. So it's got to get the leaves pulled out, shocks pulled out, the hitch is gone, basically everything until we've got this to a bare frame rail, and then we can start figuring out how to put it back together and make it go rock crawling with greatness. I think we also have to sort out the front suspension about the same time as the rear, because the front is sort of set in stone, which means I have to sort of make the rear match the front. So it's going to be a little bit of like building the front out and then setting it down and figuring out the rear as we go. So it's going to be a bunch of fab work and a bunch of figuring out, but we got this. going. Got it. The one thing that helps anything rock crawl well is gearing it lower and lower and lower. What we have here is a new transfer case set up for the rig. It's actually not a whole new transfer case. It is an old Ford NP205 out of a 1978 F-150 or F-250. So this is a good old school heavy duty transfer case that it's all gear driven internally. These things are bulletproof and it's pretty small packaging wise compared to what's in the truck right now. So we got 2-to-1 gear set in here stock. And then check this out. This is a Magnum reducer, or it's a Magnum crawl box from Off-Road Design. This right here has a 2.7 2-to-1 gear set. So basically you have a high and a low in here. When you put this thing into low, it multiplies the gears in here as well. So we have an option for 2.7 2-to-1, 2-to-1, or it's like 5.41 to 1. So basically, we end up with 3 options for low gears and stronger internal parts in this 205. All of that should equal being able to crawl on the trail instead of just bouncing it through the rocks. So this is like one of the coolest ways to make your normal truck rock crawl better. Check it out. This F250 is one of the first ones of these trucks that came with coil spring and a radius arm suspension. I was really hunting for that style because they're so easily modified and that should flex really well. This is a radius arm. Basically it has 2 pivot points, or it has 2 fixed points at the front edge and a single pivot at the back. So when this thing flexes and moves and lifts, it just goes on this plane. When it does that, you get a bunch of weird roll in your caster angle. So what we're changing it to is a 4-link kit for the front end. So it will end up having an upper and a lower bar and 2 pivot points down here, so that as it flexes, it should actually keep the caster angle quite a bit better. So we're going to be ditching the coil springs and the shocks, and we're going with a king coilover. So the shock and the spring is sort of all in this one location. It'll have big beefy 4-link bars, so we should be able to take a hit, and then a new bracket that bolts on back here that makes all that stuff attached to the chassis.
I hear him when I'm busting down the door, yelling. When I go and grab before they're yelling. His mama staring at him on the floor, she yelling. Who wants some? I got the flow that rock bells. I wail on the mic, even holy.
So we got the link arms in on this side. It was really simple. 1 bracket, 2 arms. The only thing left is to tighten this up, pull the shock, pull the coil spring, and replace that lower mount, and then the coilover will bolt in, and this side will be done.
Dude, we are getting the transfer case out of here. I've got it all unbolted, and hopefully we can pop this puppy out of here as long as I get all the bolts out. Oh, it's coming off. Wiggle it just a little bit. Oh man, it's gonna be awesome.
Drop it like it's hot.
Look at that. All right. The stock transfer case is out of there. This thing is cool and it did a good job for 15 years, but the aluminumness of it wasn't stoking me out if I'm going to be rock crawling with this. I want steel under there. Dude, got a big honking newish red truck with rad blue shocks in it. Josh, this kit's awesome.
Thanks, sir.
That's pretty rad. We went in one day from stock radius arms to like 4-link adjustability, coilover, all that. All right, it's go time on the rear suspension. The leaf spring's got to go. So these are going to get unbolted yard it out of here. I'm gonna cut off a bunch of these brackets, grind them down, and then it's time to start figuring out this link and trailing arm and coilover suspension and see if we can make this old Ford truck flex like a good rock crawler does. So I'm gonna break out the torch, cut and grind, weld, repeat, and hopefully in the next day or so this thing will have some new suspension on it. So I'm going to get in here and sand what's left of the weld from torching off the shock mounts, but I'm also going to clean up as much of this axle tube as possible. I'm actually going to go back in and weld this center chunk of the differential to the axle tubes, because these Sterling rear ends are notorious for the center chunk like spinning in the tube. So I will end up welding the truss and stuff on here, but before I get to that I want to make sure I weld the tubes to the housing. So we'll get to that here pretty soon.
I got my head in the clouds, hey mama, look at me now. I finally figured it out. I can do anything, anything. I'm standing here in the light, staring at sun in the eyes. There ain't no changing my mind. I can do anything, anything. I'm out here having the time of my life. What could be better?
So I probably could have just gotten away with putting another lift block on those springs and get the lift I wanted out of it, but I want this thing to articulate and I want it to get good traction and four-wheel better. I'm not really concerned about being able to tow and have a bunch of like capacity for hauling a trailer. So I wanted to go with something like a link system, kind of more desert racer style, a little more rock crawler style, so that we have wheel travel and articulation and get something that'll climb ledges and all that stuff. I think where we're going, we're gonna need like something that'll flex and like move quickly when we need to be like trying to bounce up rocks and ledges, and this link system should be able to like flex and move and get it on like that. So this it's a big process, and we're using parts that really aren't like designed specifically for this, so we kind of got to like build it as we go. I got this truss built. It's going to end up going up here on the axle. A little bit more fitting to do on that. Josh is working on an upper mount for the upper link, and that's going together, and then once that's done we are going to build out these trailing arms. Those are going to be really cool. You'll have to stick around for that. I got these trailing arms all welded up last night. I kind of dropped the ball and didn't get the right weld bungs for it, so I have one side that's threaded, the other side is not. So on one side it'll get a joint. This is a rebuildable joint from Superlift, so that'll go in the one side. That'll still be adjustable. The other end, I kind of modified a joint to go in here, and it's actually just going to weld in place. So I'm gonna knock that thing in, it'll get welded all around, and then I got a spot for a rosette weld here, so it should be nice and strong, and then the trailing arms are done. I don't know computers at all, like I can barely use my phone, and we got Josh over here on some gaming computer pulling up chassis designs and drawing products, so it's pretty rad. The first cut was cool. We made some pretty simple tabs, and I think that's just going to be like the starting point for some cool stuff that we're building today. It's going to be cool. Reveal. I didn't order enough weld bungs so that I was able to thread these joints into the arms. And this is my solution. I'm basically taking a piece of 1.5" 120 round tubing, welding it to the end of the threads on here. This is going to slide in, and that'll support this thing so it can't really wiggle around. It'll also give me a cool spot down here where I can rosette weld it. So this joint that's designed to be threaded in is now going to be sort of pressed in and welded all around, and it should be ultra strong, like possibly stronger than if I were to even just like hole saw notch and like use a regular bushing on the end. So pretty cool little trick. If you got some of the wrong parts, a lot of times you can make them right. Oh, that's a good one. Extra rusty.
Since this shoot's all union, how often do you have to have peanut brakes?
We have mandatory peanut brake about every 15 minutes or 400 steps, whichever comes first. Perfect.
Man, look at that.
That is a big son of a gun. Oh boy. That is so fast to like make the thing into a thing. Have a bunch of flat things.
Yep, it's one big thing.
Yeah. Alright, I guess we're going to tack up another one of those, and then we got to tack our little brackets for the link bars on it. A couple more little deals here, and then we should have 3 out of our 4 links. Great. Josh is like, can I go home so I can go back to work and relax?
Like that.
Look at that. Links of Fury. I had Josh's help for 3.5 days, and we got so much done. We got front suspension in. He built this stuff before it even showed up. That's all in place. Coilovers are in. Brake lines are ready to rock. And then he stepped up the game and got down on the computer, and we have like pretty much all of the rear suspension sorted out. Thanks, Josh. That was gnarly. Sorry you haven't slept or ate in 3 days.
I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was like 5 days if you count the hours.
Yeah, it was like that. Anywho, the truck is coming along. We are counting down the days to Ultimate Adventure. This thing is going to be so good. And what's rad is he's going to be on the trip also. So if there's anything wrong with it or if anything's crooked, he can be back there.
I'm going to keep driving.
He's going to keep driving. All right.
Dave,
Yo.
I've noticed we don't have Josh anymore.
That's fine. I'm getting back to my roots. All right, I'm back out here cutting plates and stuff the old-fashioned way. I'm making track bar brackets, and I made a track bar for this thing this morning. So the suspension is kind of buttoned up, or getting buttoned up. I've been cycling it, checking clearances. I got a few more things to do on that, and it's good to go. Next, we got to get coilovers sorted out, which should be a pretty fun project. We are going to get another bracket done here, and then we'll get to building those coilover towers out, and then hopefully by the end of the day, we can be cycling it with those and find out if we have any contact issues here or there, and if everything's good to go when it's articulated and bump stopped and all that. So this thing is coming together pretty awesome. I'm excited to drive it because this is like a whole different technique on a rear suspension that I haven't done before. So it's either going to work great or we'll find out that it didn't, and back to the drawing board. This is the kind of stuff that I really like building, and I always kind of build things small and light, and on this one it was like, nope, it's a big heavy truck. I gotta build stuff big and heavy and strong. So it's kind of fun to like change it up and build a sort of mini monster truck suspension under here. Sweet! It has suspension. Louis Viten is kind of getting dialed in. I have to get in here and finish weld all this stuff, but that's a wrap on the suspension. Thanks Real Truck for supplying Josh to come out here and help out for a few days. That was so awesome. We've got a whole bunch of good parts and components in here, stuff from Superlift and some stuff from Rough Stuff and King and all these other companies. This thing is really sort of coming into its own, and the next time you see it, it's going to be getting all finished up. We're going to be doing bumpers and winch and race radio. We're going to be doing all the interior stuff, finishing that up. It's still a ton of work to get this thing ready for Ultimate Adventure, and the clock is ticking. We'll see you guys next time.